Listening update time again, this time for the month of August of 2024. Um, I've been listening to a lot of hip hop this month actually. It really started when I knew JPEG Mafia was going to releasing his album this month, and I started listening to just some of his backlog again, like some of my favorites, like both of his EPs that he released back in 2020 and 2021, and All My Heroes Are Cornballs is one of my favorites by him. Started listening to those a lot before the album came out, and still when the album came out as well. But I've been listening to his new album, I Lay Down My Life for You, quite often. It's definitely on heavy rotation. It has been all month ever since it came out. A really solid album. Really been digging it. It's probably not my favorite in his repertoire so far, but it's still very creative and out there, and he's always a little bit of a different feel every time he brings it in. And it's kind of cool how he's brought in some of these kind of like metal and like rock kind of instruments and stuff into this more. They've been present in his past work, but they're definitely a lot more present in this current work that he just released. And I've just been listening to a lot of hip hop just in general, as I said. I've been listening to Kendrick quite a lot. Been going back mostly to Damn and Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, which are his latest albums, full-length albums that he's released. I talked about Damn in my best albums of the 2010s list, and that album pulls me back in. Same with Mr. Morale more than anything in his discography at the moment. Been really enjoying going back to those. I just really like I just loved Kendrick for a long time, so just been enjoying listening to him a lot. And another prominent one that I've been listening to actually just like in the past week, almost every day, almost all day, I've just been really obsessed and digging more into his discography that I hadn't really in the past, and that's Billy Woods. Really digging his style, and I've mostly been listening to his album with More Mother called Brass, and his other album that he did with Kenny Siegel back in 2019. The title's slipping my head right now, but I'll throw it on the screen here. I've just really been digging that, and I've been listening to his album called Church as well quite often. Those are like the three main ones I've just been going back to and listening to quite a lot. And actually, speaking of More Mother, I've actually been interested in her new album as well. I've been listening to that quite often too. I've been trying to find some time to really sit down and take that in more. But yeah, Billy Woods, I've been listening to a lot of his music, and I've been a fan of his for quite a while now, but I just haven't really, I guess I was always so overwhelmed by his discography, and I didn't really dig too deep into it in the past, but it's been good doing that now, and really been enjoying it quite a lot. I've been listening to Denzel Curry's new album quite a lot too. It's really cool, like kind of Memphis style hip hop. It's just like the Memphis stuff from the 90s, some of my favorite style of hip hop of all time. So it's really cool to see him embracing that and kind of like mixing some like modern hip hop sounds in with it. Did a really good job on it. It really suits him really well too. That like hardcore kind of style. And another artist within the hip hop, I've been going back to Playboi Carti quite a bit too, with Dial It and his latest Whole Lotta Red. His albums are just fun, kind of like you hyped up to an extent, and just like I just love listening to them. They're so catchy and just fun. So I really enjoy listening to those as well. Outside of hip hop, I've been listening to Charlie's Brad still quite a lot. Still really loving that album. Probably my favorite of the year as of right now, I'd say. Just like I don't really see how stuff's really gonna be. It's just like every song hits, and it's Charlie, and it's just Charlie doing her thing. I just love Charlie so much. So we'll see if that changes by the end of the year. But right now, I'm not really seeing it doing that. But another kind of pop album I've been listening to is Porter Robinson's new album called Smile. Um, it's actually a really interesting album, and I just love the sound that it creates. It's kind of like otherworldly in a way, like just like the weird kind of like spacey sounds to an extent, and just kind of like very atmospheric and interesting sounding. And just Porter's vocals are really nice and just kind of get me emotional in a way. I'm not gonna lie, it's just interesting sounds, kind of like nostalgic to me in a way, and it's just I just really like it. And the song Russian Roulette, that song just like kind of gets to me. It's just kind of emotional to me, and it actually made me tear up quite a few times listening to that song. But really solid album. I'm excited to keep listening to that more and more. And some other stuff I've been listening to. I've been listening to some black metal here and there. Not too much. It's more towards earlier in the month I was listening to some black metal. There's one album that I just got interested in like a few days ago. It's by a band called Rat. I can't think of the name off the top of my head right now, but I'll throw it on the screen. This just really interesting to me. It's kind of like has like these slow parts, and just like when the metal comes in, it just like hits really hard, and just been listening to that a few days out of the week. It's been pretty fun to listen to that. I've been enjoying that quite a lot. I've also been listening to stuff from like the kind of like Portugal scene, with Candelabram's new album. I mentioned that last month, I believe, and one of probably my favorite black metal albums of the year. Really interesting, kind of ambient sounds, kind of like his last one, but even more so on this one, and even some like post-punk kind of mixed in with it, which is really cool and interesting to me. And I've been listening to Black Celeste. They released like a compilation kind of album that just like really hits, just like straight up, just like raw black metal. It just really hits hard. I've been really enjoying that one as well. And like within the metal sphere, I guess I've been here and there. I've been listening to some like old school death metal, just kind of like a Fix and like Entombed and such, like stuff like that. Just like going back to those sounds, it's just like they still just hit so hard, and just like honestly getting kind of nostalgic to me, and just like I just get like a comfort from them, I guess. I just that style of music, I just like it a lot. It's just been a big part of my whole life, and just like discovering that back in the day was just like a really big deal for me. So it always kind of I'd always love listening to stuff like that. And some other stuff I want to mention. Still been listening to Boards Canada quite a lot, especially like in the car and such. I'm sorry, my cat Bowie's screaming for some reason, but it's just what she does. But definitely still listening to them quite a lot. Just really love the sound. It's just really hard. I'm just like obsessed to an extent still, not as much as I was last month, but just still listening to them quite a lot. And just they're always, every time I turn them on, I'm like, yeah, I can get down with this. Listening to them in the car a lot and stuff. And two more I want to mention. I've also been listening to these in the car a bit too, well, one of these at least. And I've been listening to The Cure a lot, especially 17 Seconds and Faith. I really enjoy both of those albums. I've just been coming back to them. I got into them years ago, and I just love the just kind of like minimal, just like it's kind of depressing, and just like it's just really good, like minimal wave, dark wave, kind of sound, post punk. I just really love that stuff. That like more like emotional Cure. Not that The Cure's not emotional and the other stuff, but it's just I don't know, it just seems so just like I like the minimal simplicity of it, and just really enjoy listening to that. And the last band I want to mention is The Smiths, and I've been listening to The Smiths quite often in the car. That was more towards earlier in the month too, but I think that's going to continue through the fall, because The Smiths kind of just remind me of the fall time. That's when I really got into them and just like really got like hooked on their music, and I still just love listening to their stuff, and I just love it. It's so catchy and fun, and I really love the music. And I've mostly been listening to their last two full-length albums, which is The Queen Is Dead and Strange Ways, and I've just been really enjoying them. I kind of make like a little compilation CD of both of them that I have in my car, and been enjoying listening to both of those, and I'm looking forward to listening to them more into the fall time, especially on days like today actually, but it's still pretty hot outside. I'm not looking forward to hoping it'll finally cool off here soon. I just hate the heat so much, but Yeah, that's kind of the gist of what I've been listening to this month. Those are the big things. I'm always listening to a bunch of like random things here and there, but those are the ones I've listened to the most. And yeah, let me know down in the comments as always, like what you guys have been listening to. I'm always interested to hear what you guys have been into, and I'll always like some recommendations on things. And yeah, I'll end out this video how I always do. If you could please support my friends here on the side, that'd be awesome. Links in the description. And thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.